Predators.
Predators. So, I'm
So,
Nick.
and I'm Dan.
I thought you were looking at notes for that one.
I was thinking about how this episode goes because I always like, oh my goodness, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm frightened. I'm very,
Tonight
very
we're going to
frightened.
talk about a particular predatory situation, like we do in all these episodes.
People to people conflict and how people manipulate
Ooh.
other people.
Oh.
How to get out of those situations when you're the victim. How to isolate the predator and
How to
extinguish
do it to
them.
people. And how to do it to people smaller than you.
Yeah.
Less
Just
fortunate.
in case you get the chance.
What's today's what's the big one?
Predatory lending. So the circumstance you find yourself in most often is that you need money. You're broke, you're poor, you're having some sort of unexpected expense, medical issue maybe, you lost your job. You just need fast cash.
Your kid broke his leg, I don't know. Your boss just closed the doors and says, "Oops, I'm not paying y'all. I'm filing. Good luck."
So that's the generic version. There's also a unique element to this that some people like willingly know. Like they've had bank accounts before and they didn't like them because I guess they feel like they don't know enough. Like they're financially disadvantaged, so they assume that they don't know what the bank is doing, like the rates that they're lending. So they feel a little bit, I guess, belittled when they go to a bank, or the bank is far away.
It's far away.
Yeah, literally.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, or they don't have a car, so it's like they have to walk, or get on a bus, or spend money to get their money.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
So I did listen to a certain podcast that talked about. I think there was like a doctor of finance who was teaching and also became like one of the check cashing cashiers, like the teller.
He was charging some numbers.
She was trying to figure out why people would do this. So, and she actually was like surprised by like the logic that poorer people would have, because they know how to manage their money. They just don't know, I guess, how to project their money out. Like how to grow their money. They're limited with their budget, but they don't know how to budget, which is kind of a weird thing. And then there's also sort of like a consumerist disease to it, that like you want physical cash in your hand. Like you need that like physical thing. And then they also like spend money on physical stuff.
Well, then there's like the whole, a poor person and a rich person have very similar phone bills, interestingly enough. Like they have the same haircut costs, similar.
So the scale is much larger for them for what they percentage wise.
Yeah. So like, you don't make as much as, Mr. Rich McRich, but you still pay $100 a month for your cell phone and the service and the bill and texting and all that. And the rich person, what do they have, $160 for theirs? And they have unlimited text and data and all that anyway. So you kind of like that expense is monthly. It weighs much heavier on someone who doesn't make that much money.
True.
But everyone has it. Those type things, I think, that no one really considers. Gas money is going to be the same for a rich person and a poor person.
Yeah.
But it's a much bigger chunk of a poor person's collective than someone else.
Yeah, and there's a convenience, like even like convenience stores, like bodegas. Like these little stores are littered throughout a city, but like a bank, like you know more about the city than I do. Like you live there. How close are banks to most people?
I could walk to mine, and that's usually how you sign up for it. Like it's within walking distance. I didn't go, I really need to drive across the city to get to a bank I can't easily access. And most of them do have ATMs everywhere. You can still get slammed with the charge, like the $250 and all that, if you need your money right away and it's not in the bank and all that.
Yeah, because there's like a 3-day delay when you put your money in the bank and getting it out, which could really blow somebody's budget.
Screw you up.
Yeah.
Well, the worst is if you plan for it to come out on the third day and there's a withdrawal coming and the money is being held, and then they say there's insufficient funds. So now you're hit with insufficient funds. It didn't go through, and they charge you money. And then afterwards, the people are like, "Oh, it did clear. You're good."
Yeah, there's added fees on being poor, as well as certain bank accounts, like the free checking requires you to have a certain balance. So those people aren't going to have that balance, or the like ACH, like the direct deposit. That sort of transfer isn't available to them because they just get written a check. Like their company isn't big enough to do a direct deposit.
My company is big enough, but still doesn't.
Because it probably costs them money.
Deposit. Probably. Isn't that funny?
Probably
that
like
came up in another Predators episode.
Irma in the back room is signing off on these checks.
Could be.
Okay, so that's the victim and that's the circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of understand what's happening there. So they're getting these payday loans, and here's the predatory part of it, is that not only is there usually a fee, but these people are also mostly underwater. So it's something like
mostly like, what is it, 2% or something? I have no idea. Between 2 and 5, I have no idea.
2 and 5%. Oh, the rate?
Yeah.
The common one that I came across was smaller? Like
one
for every $100 they would charge you 15 for like a 2-week period. So that APR is like 400% for the year. So people would go in with like $1,000 like loan request and then end up paying like $4,000 on it over the course of the year because they would keep rolling it over every payday.
Right.
And the way it works is that you, like if you have a checking account, you literally like sign a check and you give it to them and then they cash it on your payday, or the reverse where they just give you the loan and then you have to come back and pay it.
Right.
So they have, some of them actually like have your fake money before you even get it. So it's literally like you have $0. So a third of people are actually accruing debt, so they're losing net worth. And it's something like almost 2/3 of people, it was 78%, are living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, like week to week.
Yeah.
So they need that money, and that's probably why they're doing it too.
Yeah. And the predators here are the people with money who are charging a ridiculous rate. So you have like, not even like credit cards are like 16 or 18% in most cases.
Yeah, 17 or 15 or something like that.
So I guess we'll come back around to like what the solution is here. So like these predators, they're setting up these cash and loan places, and they're setting up so that like legally so like it varies from state to state, but this is legal in most places. There have even been like bills that have come about and to reduce it so that you can't charge more than a certain percentage, which makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But there's so much money behind the business that there's one politician that had a bill out there that said cap it at 36%. We're going to keep it there. He was trying to get it on the ballot and get it under a vote. It turns out one of the predatory lending people came in with a bill that said we're going to cap it at 18%. And we're like, that sounds fantastic, except the fine print says unless they sign it in writing. So like you're allowed to give them terms in writing and then sign off on it, and they can charge whatever they want.
So it can't be printed, it has to be in handwriting?
Yeah, but the trick there was that they could have charged them whatever, like it could have been 400% as long as they signed off on a piece of paper. So it's not limiting the ability of the...
There's no cap at all.
No. And they also set these things up so that they're super easy. So like they'll be co-located where the people live. And also they say
right by job locations and stuff too.
I don't know. I've never gone to one. Well, I mean, I've seen them, but I've never actually been like, hey, or gone in them. But what I've read is that they have like an easy to understand, like percentages. People get confused. What's APR? Like they don't really get it. But if you go to these places, it's like, I need $100, and they'll be like, for $100, it's $15. Like, that makes sense. It's like, even though there's a percentage there, it's they have this on like a billboard, almost like you go to McDonald's and you read it off. So these people are aware of like people's inability to conduct their own finances, so they're attacking them on like a mental level. Like subdue them into ease and then take their money, and then once they...
it from them almost, like a little bit, like, hey, here it is. You got it. This is what you're buying.
Yeah, once they get them on the hook and then they miss a payment, they keep re-upping the next loan. So like every payday they get another loan, and then it's something like a majority of these people, like 80%, get the next loan and then keep getting the next loan. So they can't get out of the hole.
Right, at that point you're too far in the hole.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. It's talking like...
How do you know if you're... No.
How do you know of what?
You're the victim, but I guess you would know.
These people, a lot of them had like, I guess, the government on their side a little bit, because in certain states they limit the amount they could do on payday loans, but then they change the type of loan. So they do like title loans, which is on your car, and then they repossess your car, or they do it on, like, they call it a short-term mortgage on $200. It's like,
really? You can do that?
You can do that, yeah.
Wow.
It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. Well, it's obvious because there's certain representatives that are a part of this, like, check cashing ring, and they like vehemently oppose.
Of course.
Yeah. There's a guy named Elkins.
All the money.
He got ripped apart by another.
Dropping.
Yeah. There's a representative, Elkins. He got ripped apart by another representative. He was like, don't you own like a dozen of these? And he's like, well, I don't see how that's. And then she said, like, don't you know what a conflict of interest is? It's like blatant.
That's impossible. I'm being impartial here.
Completely impartial. So this is really like the man is really screwing you over here.
Yeah, it is the man. Screw the man. That's what we say here.
So you got anything to add? Did I miss anything?
No, how do you get out of it? How do you get out of it?
How do you get out of it? Do you know how do you get out of it?
No, I have no idea.
Somebody called up.
Bankruptcy, move.
Somebody actually called up like the loan place and said, like, well, what do I do? And they said, give us your blood. Donate your plasma. Because that's, like, you can make more money, like, selling your plasma than your day job. So, like, if you sell enough plasma, literally suck your blood, then you can get out of this loan.
Isn't there a cap on plasma donation?
Like I think it's like once every couple weeks or something.
Okay.
But if it's once every 2 weeks, it's perfect for a payday loan.
You're absolutely correct. Do your regular job, donate some plasma, boom, you're out of it. Solved all your problems.
Realistically, though, they say like loan shark has this really bad connotation, but loan sharks are actually pretty good compared to these places because they don't charge nearly that much percentage.
So, yeah, I thought, well, what is a loan shark's percentage? I guess it's different per loan shark.
Yeah,
loan,
it varies.
Per everything.
But they'll be reasonable.
And they'll work with you, kind of, I guess, maybe, because it's a person, not a business. So what you're telling me is business is bad. People
corporations are terrible.
Yeah, it always comes back to that.
They say any other loan is probably better than this one because, like, some of these, even in like the British ones have like 3,000%. Like, they have ridiculous percentage. So you can, to get out of these loans, they say, like, don't go back to them. If you can get money from family members, like actually have a loan from a family member, a loan shark. Like some religions, like I know, like the Jewish religion has like stipulations on lending money to people within the faith.
Really?
It's kind of the same thing as do you know what the numbers are? The numbers was like a lottery that African American people would do, like amongst themselves, and it's
a neighborhood lottery.
Yeah. And the numbers people were actually
guy. Yeah, it's called a numbers guy.
Yeah. You can actually get loans from those people. So, like, back in the day, the African American people couldn't get normal loans, so they would go to the numbers person because they were holding the cash. They can get a loan and then finance what they're trying to finance. So there's those people out there.
I know a numbers guy.
You do? Is a bookie?
Yeah, I don't know if he does sports.
Interesting.
What happens is you give him money, you give him your numbers, and they actually use the real lottery numbers that are being pulled. If you hit those numbers, he owes you. I forget what the numbers are, but it's like, it's not the same as the lottery, the PA lottery, but they use those numbers. And because it's a neighborhood figure, like, they're usually going to be there. They say once in a blue moon you hear a story about a numbers guy who his person hit big and he just had to split town. But can you imagine that? Like, one of your clients like hits and you're like, oh my God, I don't have it. Let's get out of here. You have to leave town. Like, you literally just have to pick up and move. Go.
Yeah,
quick
you have to become a numbers guy somewhere else.
Somewhere else. God bless the numbers guys.
Huh.
It's a rough life.
Yeah, I guess if you don't trust the institution.
You have to become a numbers guy.
That's one way to do it, I guess. Make more money.
That's what we're telling everyone at home. Start getting a pool of money, okay? Telling other people you do numbers. Telling other people other things. Don't tell anyone in the FBI or the IRS. Don't ever report any money you get to the IRS, okay? what you want to do is start getting your money, getting your clientele, getting your people together, getting everything nice and smooth. Get a system, get a guy who will hurt people, get a guy who will find people. You get the guy who will find people to find someone, and the guy to hurt them. Boom, problem solved. This is what I think more people need to do.
100% correct, Nick. You got to find the biggest guy in the room, hire him to beat the smallest guy in the room, and then everyone knows who you are.
Not always the biggest guy. Sometimes it's the guy who looks like he takes nails to the face. He's just he's got to be ugly. Yeah, 100%.
He's got metal teeth, like that guy from James Bond, Jaws.
Yeah. Good call.
What else we got? There's a few other things. Most of these revolve around spending addiction. So if you fight your addiction and stop spending money on stupid things, a lot of people took out payday loans for vacations. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You could get a credit card, go to a bank. Maybe they won't charge you. Maybe you can get a special account. More of these products are coming available. If you do get out of this, make sure there's an emergency fund, because it actually is, the statistic was that it was more middle-aged women. I guess they're coming off of divorce and they don't manage their finances and they don't have a job. Mm-hmm. So they don't have an emergency fund and they never expected to be in that position, so they didn't know what to do. So if you're prepared mentally and you have an emergency fund and you can navigate it, at least for a little while.
Numbers, do more finance, get a little more savvy.
Yep, savvy.
Prep yourself with some money on the side, and avoid these situations unless you absolutely have to. Don't do it because you kind of want to, because it's going to snowball. That's where you kiss a guy in another guy's mouth.
No, we already covered this one. So, it's okay. If it's really bad, you bring up that reference and they say, no way, it's not going to happen. You say, I give up. This is bankruptcy. And then you start over again, if you can.
Can you do that?
I think these loans are absolvable.
Nice.
Another thing.
Absolve all your loans, people. Bankruptcy. Just do it. It doesn't even hurt you.
The one thing I forgot to mention is that there's no due diligence. So there's a federal, not mandate, but a desire, I think, that these loans should be limited and monitored, not only percentage-wise, but if you take out multiple ones on the same paycheck, there should be in a database somewhere so that you can cross-check them. So the federal mandate, the federal law should change to avoid the situation where someone takes out way too much money for ridiculous rates multiple times.
For ridiculous reasons.
Yes. Legitimate loans would be good.
Maybe talk with someone, family members, people to help.
Yeah. Did I miss anything? Have we got anything to cover?
No, I think you actually covered everything.
Predators.
Predators.